Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
It's my pleasure to be on.
Now, we're talking about Lot now.
Yeah.
He was apparently related to Abraham.
Yes. He was Abraham's nephew.
Nephew, right?
Yeah.
So apparently the angels came to Abraham before they came to Lot and told Abraham that they were going to destroy this city that Lot lived in. Tell me a little bit about the story of Lot, because it seems like within the Bible and the Quran, the outline of the story is very similar. There are some minor differences within the details.
Yes. So the similarities, we can see that in both the Bible and the Quran, the people of Lot are depicted as being disobedient to God, and then God decides to wipe them out. So he sent his angels to overturn the city. The angels are there with Lot as in the form of young men. The men of the city come to claim them for their own sexual gratification, which would amount to the rape of these strangers in their town. Lot tries to defend them, but nonetheless, these men are persistent, and God blinds them and instructs Lot to leave the town. He leaves, but his wife looks back according to the Bible, and she's turned into a pillar of salt. In the Quran, here we see one of the subtle differences, that Lot's wife remains with them, so she gets the same punishment that they received.
Okay. And I think the angels had warned in advance that his wife would not go along with Lot.
That's right, in the Quranic depiction, yes. So as for turning into a pillar of salt, it could be that people looked at some of the formations. In fact, this is suggested in Hastings' Dictionary of the Bible, that some of the formations may have a kind of human-like appearance. So it's possible that somebody looked at it and say, oh, that looks like a human being. Maybe one of them was turned into a pillar of salt, and that could have been Lot's wife. So people may have inferred that later on, and that became part of the story. In any case, so much for the similarities as we have outlined. What are the differences? I'm sure.
Well, you mentioned, Lot's wife. Yeah. There's another difference where after, Lot sought refuge in, I believe it was a cave, his daughters wanted to procreate.
Yes.
Right? So tell us that part, because that's not in the Quran.
Yes. In the Bible, it is mentioned that the daughters thought that they are the only ones alive and with their father, and now how is their generation going to live on? Well, they thought the solution is to be impregnated by their father, and the only way this is going to be done is to get him drunk and then sleep with him at night, and so they did one after another. The Quran does not have that story, and Muslims generally find that story difficult to comprehend. Because from a Muslim point of view, the prophets are depicted as great moral examples, and because alcohol is prohibited in our faith, and certainly drunkenness is prohibited in both the Bible and the Quran, we do not expect that one of the prophets of God would have become so drunk that he wouldn't know who comes in and who goes and what to do with him. So Muslims find that story difficult to comprehend.
I think there's one common theme within both the Bible and the Quran, the fact that women are not depicted very well in this narrative. So Lot's wife and then his daughters, right? In the Bible.
Well, yes, of course, the Quran does not mention anything negative about the daughters. And in general, I should say that if we had to deal with this as a whole series, we would show one after another that the Quran actually depicts the women who are known from the Bible in a far better light than they appear previously. But that needs a separate discussion. But for the moment, Lot's wife is depicted both in the Bible and the Quran as not one of the believers, and so in the Quranic narrative she stays behind and she gets the same penalty that her people receive. Another interesting aspect of this is the way in which Abraham pleads with God on behalf of the people.
In both the Bible and
the Quran. In both the Bible and
yes.
the Quran, yes. And it shows that God would have spared the people if there had been a good number of people who were believers in God. But it turns out that apart from a few believers along with Lot, the others are all disbelieving, and so they perish. The Quranic narrative shows that there were many evils that these people were into, like the 29th chapter of the Quran, the 29th verse says that they were committing evils in their assemblies, they were robbing people on the highways, and so on. And greater than all of this is their rejection of God's prophet, because in the Quranic retelling of the stories of the prophets, this is the chief reason for the destruction of people. God sends a prophet, he preaches to them the message of monotheism, calling them towards God and away from their sins. They refuse and deny the prophet. Sometimes they even start harming the prophet physically. And that is when God intervenes and says, enough is enough, and then destroys the people and then sends another prophet to another people and so on. So that's the recurring theme, and that seems to be what's happening here in the story of Lot as well. Many people have interpreted the story in the light of only one specific crime, but the Quran shows that it was actually broader than that.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.